the missing girl and the man on the camera. Before we dive in, hit that subscribe button, because the truth we uncover tonight isn't for the faint-hearted. Every week, we reveal the cases the world tried to forget. This one will stay with you long after the screen goes dark. It began like most small-town mysteries do, with a single unanswered question: where is Oakley Carlson? December 2021. A cold, wet morning in Oakville, Washington. Police were called to a quiet family home after reports that a 6-year-old girl hadn't been seen in months. Her parents, Jordan Bowers and Andrew Carlson, claimed she was fine, that she was staying with friends. But the more investigators listened, the more that answer began to rot from the inside. Officers searched every room, the kitchen, the attic, the backyard shed, but there was no trace of Oakley. No toys, no clothes, no toothbrush. Nothing that said a little girl lived there. Just an eerie emptiness and the faint smell of mold creeping from behind the locked basement door. When detectives questioned the couple, their stories clashed. Jordan avoided eye contact, her fingers trembling as she lit another cigarette. Andrew sat quietly, looking as though he wanted to vanish into the floor. Neither parent asked the obvious question: is my daughter okay? By the end of the week, the search expanded to nearby forests and rivers. Volunteers combed through icy mud, calling her name, their voices echoing through the trees. But Oakley never answered, and then, something strange happened. Across the street, a neighbor, a woman named Melissa Price, checked her security camera footage. She'd installed it a few months prior, mostly to keep an eye on raccoons digging through her trash. But the night before the police search, she noticed motion alerts around 2:14 a.m. On screen was a man standing in her driveway, facing direct toward her camera. He wasn't moving. He wasn't speaking. But his lips were forming words. Melissa turned up the volume. The audio cracked with static, but one word came through, clear and cold: Oakley. At first, police thought it might be a prank. But Melissa swore she didn't know the man, and the footage showed him appearing for exactly 1 minute and 47 seconds before vanishing behind the tree line. No car lights. No footsteps. Just gone. When investigators enhanced the video, the man's features became clearer. Thin face, deep eye bags, a small scar under his left cheek. What chilled detectives wasn't the face, it was the direction he was looking. Straight past the camera, across the street, toward the Carlson home. The next day, detectives reviewed more footage from nearby homes. Several cameras captured the same man walking up the road, no coat, no backpack, barefoot, in freezing rain. He passed 6 houses, but he stopped in front of only one. The Carlsons. Inside the home, detectives uncovered darker evidence. Oakley's siblings, when interviewed separately, told social workers that their parents had been mean to Oakley. One sibling whispered something that made the room fall silent: "Mom told me Oakley was eaten by wolves." That was the moment investigators realized this wasn't just a missing child case. Something far worse had happened here. The local sheriff's department launched a full-scale criminal investigation. Neighbors reported late-night burn pits in the backyard, strange chemical smells, and muffled screams they'd once written off as television noise. The more they dug, the more it felt like the town itself was trying to hide something. Then came another break. Melissa's security system, the same one that captured the barefoot stranger, triggered again. This time, 4:02 a.m., exactly 3 nights after the first incident. It was Jordan Bowers, Oakley's mother, walking through the rain. Alone. No shoes. Carrying a small black bag. She stopped at the same spot the man had stood, stared directly at the camera for a few seconds, then walked toward the woods. Investigators rushed to the scene the next morning and found footprints, 2 sets. One large, one small. Both leading deeper into the trees, and stopping abruptly at a creek. BED.AS news spread, the entire county went on alert. Online forums exploded with theories. Was the barefoot man connected to the family? A local drifter? A witness? Or was it something more sinister? Someone helping cover up what really happened to Oakley? Detectives traced the camera footage timestamps and noticed something bone-chilling. Both the man and Jordan had appeared exactly 72 hours apart, to the minute. The pattern suggested planning. Ritual. Intention. That's when Detective Morales, the case lead, ordered the final forensic search of the Carlson property, focusing on that locked basement door. The one both parents claimed had swollen shut from the rain. When they finally forced it open, the smell hit first, a mix of mildew, smoke, and something far worse. Inside, the flashlight beams cut across walls lined with crayon marks and old fingerprints. A small blanket lay folded in the corner beside a plastic toy cup, and on the far wall, drawn in a child's uneven handwriting, was a message written in black marker. He said, "My name. If you're still here after chapter 1, you already know this story isn't just another case file." But what investigators found next, it's the kind of truth you can't unhear. If you think you're ready, hit that subscribe button, because this is where everything breaks open. The writing on the basement wall changed everything. Detectives stared at the words, "He said my name," knowing they hadn't been written by an adult. The height of the letters, the shape of the handwriting, the hesitant strokes, it was Oakley's. Forensic analysis later confirmed it matched samples from her school notebooks. The team sealed off the basement, documenting every inch. Behind the small blanket, they found food wrappers, empty water bottles, and a child's shoe, size 10, pink, the same size Oakley wore before she vanished. The scene painted a picture that no one wanted to see. Oakley Carlson had been kept there, alive, for some time before she disappeared. Detective Morales sat across from Jordan Bowers in the gray interview room of the Grays Harbor County Sheriff's Office. The hum of the ceiling fan filled the silence as Jordan picked at her nails. "Your daughter's writing is on your basement wall," Morales said quietly. "We found her things down there. You told us that room was flooded." Jordan didn't look up. She just whispered, "You don't know what you're talking about." Morales pressed a photo across the table, the words in black marker, glaring under the camera flash. "Then tell me, Jordan, who's he?" For the first time since her arrest, Jordan's mask cracked. Her jaw trembled. Her hands clenched so tight her knuckles turned white. But she said nothing. 2 days later, the stranger from the footage was finally identified. His name was Travis Henson, a 42-year-old handyman who had done contract work for the Carlsons the previous summer. He disappeared months earlier after being questioned in an unrelated burglary case. When police tracked his last known location, they found his truck abandoned near the Wishkah River, less than 10 miles from the Carlson home. Inside were Oakley's school drawings and a small, blood-stained blanket. Detectives realized that both Travis and Jordan had been returning to the same spot, Melissa's driveway, at night, days apart. But why? Investigators pulled the full security footage from Melissa's home and slowed it frame by frame. On the second visit, when Jordan appeared at 4:02 a.m., she wasn't just standing there. She was burying